Right, so seeing how bhakti is unending, there is no beginning to bhakti, nor does it ever end. So let's just sort of jump in again, right? Because the time that we spend in satsang is good time. It's time well spent. And as they say in Gujarati, Be Gadi Jia, or Ik Gadi Jia actually. And Ik Gadi means 12 minutes. So if you have good association for 12 minutes, you have lived an entire lifetime. 12 minutes. Right? I mean, Parikshit, who I spoke of yesterday, who actually I didn't explain the whole story of Parikshit. Parikshit was a very righteous king who lived at the beginning of the Kali Yuga, and he was protected when he was in his mother's womb, when his enemies sent a Brahmastra missile of all of the different sort of yogic, because there's yogic warfare, if you can believe it or not. And they have these missiles that are sent from mantras, and one of them is called Brahmastra. It was the thing that tied Hanuman down. And it's used as an example of faith that Hanuman was actually captured by the Brahmastra, because not that Hanumanji could not have maybe eluded it or broken from its hold, but that he respected it because it was Brahmastra. It was the weapon of Brahma. So he decided, okay, I'll respect Brahma, the creator. It's a really powerful missile, and if I don't respect it, maybe its fame will become lessened. So, I mean, such an interesting character. So I'll allow it to capture me. So he's captured by the Brahmastra missile, and Ravana walks by. Jeff G, could I have a little bit of water? Like maybe a gallon? Oh, is there? Oh, J.O. I have it. So Ravana walks by, and he sees that Hanuman is contained by the Brahmastra. But the Brahmastra doesn't have, you don't see the Brahmastra. It isn't like chains or a rope. It's a mantric missile. So he said, I think we should maybe chain him up as well. So as soon as he put the chains on Hanuman, because his faith lessened in the Brahmastra missile, because his faith wavered, the power of that missile, of that mantric, tantric thing, fell apart. And of course Hanuman broke through the chains with a single movement, and the rest of it is Jai Sitaram. It is. The rest of it is Jai Sitaram. But Parikshit, talking about people who just live for a small amount of time and are able to attain.
There you go.
I think that. Really
I don't know. I was watching you.
Am I like going to be doing Ashtanga? Am I going to be doing Bhakti Sutra?
You can't drink water during Ashtanga.
So Raja Parikshit was out in the forest one day, and of course he was protected from the same missile from a Brahmastra by Lord Krishna himself. And he was out in the forest, and he was a righteous king, and he was really thirsty, and he didn't have all that water like I have here. And he approached a sage, and this sage was a real yogi, and he was in samadhi. He was in trance, he was in his meditation, in his dhyan. So the king walked over and says, give me a glass of water, I'm very thirsty. And the sage did not hear him because his mind was somewhere else. So the king thought he was a phony yogi. So he says, this guy is paying disrespect to a king. So there was, he found a snake, or he killed a snake. I mean, he did something that was really negative. And he threw a dead snake over this sage's shoulders. So that will show him, well, not a good thing to do. You don't do stuff like that to enlightened beings, because this sage had a son who was bathing about a half a mile away in a river, and he knew through his own yogic avenues of perception what had happened. So he picked up some water in his hand. He said, and that king will die in 7 days by a snake bite, and cursed that king right then and there. And the king also realized what he had done, and he realized that he had only 7 days to live. So he sought a solution in upaya, as it's called in Sanskrit. He wanted to figure out how to become enlightened in 7 days. So he announced in his kingdom, anyone got any ideas? You know, this is my situation. I got 7 days. I have to get mukti in 7 days. Because he understood the dharma, artha, kama, moksha, progression of pursuits of dharma, wealth, artha, kama, desire, and moksha or mukti, which we spoke about briefly yesterday. He understood that liberation was the thing to get. So he called a bunch of people. He said, anyone have any ideas? And all sorts of people came in. Some meditation masters came, some yogis came, and told him this and that. And he thought that it was all very interesting, but no one really impressed him until Shukadev, that Jivan Mukta character I spoke of yesterday, who didn't pop out of his mother's womb until he was enlightened. So he was around like 8 or 9 years old at that time, and he kind of breezed in. And the king realized, whoa, this guy's got it. So he said, king, take a seat. I'm going to tell you a story. And he told him the 18,000 shlokas of the Bhagavad, from which is the source text for where Bhakti Sutra is really coming out of the Srimad Bhagavatam, most of the concepts. And so he had 7 days.